Hi, I'm David with Smartscapes LLC here in Nashville, Tennessee on an early spring day. And I'm here to talk to you about how to make landscape garden beds. First, you got to determine what area you want to landscape. Then you got to decide what kind of plants you're going to put in there. Then you got to calculate how much area they're going to take up. And it's best to figure on the mature size of the plant. If you figure on the size of plant that's in the container when you buy it and you stick it in there, within a few years it's going to grow out of its space. Now what you see in front of me here is where we put in knockout roses. And we wanted these knockout roses to come together and grow together to be one big lush area. So we figured out how much plant space we needed per pot and we planted them for it. Now we planted it for the mature size and they've been sheared back from the winter. So here in the next month or so they're going to continue to grow together and be lush and beautiful. After you figure out how many plants you're putting in the space, what size you need it, what plants you need, whether they need to be shade tolerant, sun tolerant, a mix, whether it needs to be a staple, whether it needs to be an accent, whether it needs to be something that's going to be 20 feet tall or 2 feet tall. You got your space figured out. Then you want to go draw your space on the ground. Some people use a hose pipe and wrap it around the edges of what they believe it's going to be. They'll measure it off and wrap it around the edges. Some people use spray paint. They make a yard paint that sprays up and upside down, similar to what you'd find on a football field. After you mark out the area, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and set your plants in there to make sure they're going to look the way you want them to look without having to add any more plants. After you do that, you'll want to go ahead and pull your plants back out of the area, and more than likely you're going to have sod or some sort of turf in the area. The best way to address that is to take a sod cutter and cut it up. Cut it up basically in rolls and haul it off. Another way to do it is to spray it with Roundup and kill it. That's not so green. And then you also have the method of using a tiller. But you go in, you use a tiller, you still have root systems there. By and large, sod cutter is the best way to do it. So you go through there, you cut all your sod out of the bed, and then you come back, and the proper way to do it is to amend the soil. And usually you want to do some testing on your soil because most homeowners don't really know what kind of soil they got. And your local ag center can help you out with the soil testing. They'll give you a kit, you pull a couple plugs, you send it to them, and they'll tell you what amendments you need to do to be able to grow what. After you find out what amendments you need to add in, then you simply add in the amendments while you're planting the plants in the ground. That's how you prep a bed to landscape. My name's David. I'm with Smartscapes LLC here in Nashville, Tennessee. You can check us out at www.landscapesnashville.com.